The power of manifestation reveals the ancient secret that your reality is a tapestry woven from your thoughts and beliefs. As you listen, you'll awaken to the truth. Every desire is the universe calling you to create. The time to shape your destiny is now. The power of manifestation. Introduction. In the hush of a forgotten desert, where the stars whisper secrets older than time, there dwelled a sage named Amara. Her days were spent at a loom of ancient cedar, yet her eyes seldom opened to choose her threads. With fingertips attuned to the unseen, she felt the silent hum of each fiber and wove tapestries that shimmered with a light not born of sun or flame. Stories that seemed to speak directly to the soul of all who gazed upon them. So too does the universe weave. Every thought you hold, every belief you cradle, is a living thread. The unseen loom of creation moves with the frequency you carry, and reality answers your silent song. This is no new revelation. It is the eternal memory your spirit has always kept. As Amara chose her threads in sacred trust, so do you select the vibrations that call your destiny forth. Align the inner music of your desire with the life you long for, and the universe will echo it back, as faithfully as the moon pulls the tide. The power of manifestation is not hidden in elaborate rites or distant mysteries. It lives in the quiet knowing that you are already creating with every breath and every pulse of consciousness. Your presence here is the sign. You are ready to awaken to what has always been yours. When a traveler once journeyed across the sands to learn the secret of Amara's radiant art, she offered him only a single strand. "Tell me what you feel," she whispered. Bewildered, he sensed nothing, until he closed his eyes and stilled his thoughts. Then, like a revelation, the subtle vibration of life itself sang through the fiber. "The thread is unchanged," Amara smiled. "It is only your awareness that has opened to what was always there." But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Awakening of Desire. Chapter 1. The Whisper that Guides. You are already attuned to the language of the universe, even if you have not yet recognized its voice. Within you stirs a force more potent than doubt, more enduring than fear, the sacred pulse of desire. This is not the fleeting want of earthly things, but the divine calling that emerges from your deepest truth. In a distant village there lived a woman named Greta, who spent her days working quietly in her garden, believing her dreams too grand to speak aloud. Each morning, she would feel a stirring in her heart, a vision of teaching others the healing ways of plants and herbs. Yet she pushed this yearning aside, thinking herself unworthy of such an aspiration. But the universe speaks through desire, and what you perceive as longing is actually recognition, your soul remembering its purpose. Greta's journey transformed when she understood that her deepest wish was not a burden to bear, but a gift to embrace. The very presence of her desire was proof of her readiness to receive it. In the same village lived a merchant named Otto, who carried within him the vision of a shop where travelers could find comfort and rest. For years, he dismissed this dream as mere fantasy, until he learned to trust the wisdom of his inner calling. The moment Otto aligned with his vision, treating it not as a distant hope, but as an unfolding reality, the path began to clear before him. A building became available in the heart of the village, and those who would help him appeared as if summoned by his newfound certainty. The universe does not speak in shouts, but in the quiet certainty that rises from within. Your desires are not random thoughts, but sacred messages guiding you toward your highest expression. When you honor these inner promptings, you align with the very force that creates worlds. The practice of sacred acknowledgement. As night falls, find a quiet moment to commune with your soul's deepest knowing. Place your hand upon your heart, feeling its steady rhythm. Close your eyes and allow your truest desire to rise naturally in your mind. Speak it softly, not as a wish to be granted, but as a truth already unfolding. I am. Let these words carry the weight of certainty, for they are not merely hopes. They are the universe speaking through you, calling you toward your destined path. Feel how your desire pulses through your being, as natural as breath, as certain as dawn. This is not an exercise in wanting. It is a moment of recognition, of claiming what already belongs to you. Let this truth settle into your bones, for in acknowledging your heart's wisdom, you open yourself to the infinite possibilities that await. Chapter 2. The Garden of Thoughts. Your thoughts are not merely passing clouds in the sky of your mind. They are seeds planted in the fertile soil of the universe. Each thought you nurture takes root in the garden of your experience, growing into the reality you walk through each day. In a tranquil valley, a woman named Lena tended her garden, not yet realizing it mirrored the landscape of her inner world. When storms threatened her flowers, fear would grip her heart, and she noticed how weeds seemed to multiply overnight, choking the delicate blooms she worked so hard to cultivate. Yet on days when she approached her garden with joy, expecting beauty to unfold, her flowers would stretch toward the sun with renewed vigor. Slowly, Lena began to see how this same principle worked in every aspect of her life. When she dwelled on lack, more situations arose that reinforced her scarcity. But when she focused on abundance, even in the smallest things, the morning dew, a friend's smile, the warmth of sunlight, more blessings would appear as naturally as flowers turning toward light. In the same valley lived Fritz, a carpenter whose workshop echoed with his complaints about life's burdens. Each setback reinforced his belief that the world was against him, until one day he witnessed an old oak tree growing strong despite being twisted by wind. This sight awakened something within him. He began acknowledging his small victories: a perfectly fitted joint, a satisfied customer, a moment of clarity in his work. As he shifted his focus from what was wrong to what was right, his life began to transform, like a garden breaking into bloom after rain. Your mind is this same fertile ground, ready to nurture whatever you plant within it. Each morning presents you with a choice. Which seeds will you sow in the garden of your consciousness? The thoughts you choose to cultivate will inevitably grow into the experiences that shape your days. The practice of sacred cultivation. As the first light touches the horizon each morning, select one radiant thought to plant in your inner garden. Hold this thought in your mind as gently as you would cradle a precious seed. Feel its potential stirring, already alive with possibility. Perhaps it is a thought of abundance. I am surrounded by infinite opportunities. Or of love. I am a beacon of compassion in all my interactions. Or of growth. I expand in harmony with life's natural flow. Nurture this thought as though it were already blooming, its roots extending deep into your being, its flowers opening in the warmth of your attention. Let its truth settle into your consciousness, knowing that what you water with your focus will surely grow. Chapter 3. The Mirror of Belief. In the quiet depths of an ancient village, a young woman named Elsa walked with eyes cast down, believing the world held only shadows. Each morning she perceived frowns where smiles bloomed, heard criticism in gentle words, and felt rejection in the simplest of greetings. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, could only mirror back what she held within. Like a garden reflecting the care of its tender, your life manifests the seeds you plant in the soil of consciousness. The law of attraction operates with unwavering precision, not as punishment or reward, but as the natural order of creation itself. When you believe in lack, lack finds you. When you believe in abundance, abundance flows. Hans, a merchant in the same village, discovered this truth through an unexpected turn of fate. Each morning before the sun painted the sky, he stood in his humble chamber and spoke words of power into existence. I am worthy. I am blessed. I am abundance itself. At first the words felt hollow, like empty vessels waiting to be filled. Yet he persisted, understanding that belief, like any seed, requires patient nurturing. As days turned to weeks, his reality began to shift. Customers who once hurried past his shop now lingered, drawn by an inexplicable warmth. Opportunities that had remained hidden suddenly revealed themselves, like flowers breaking through soil at the first touch of spring. The change wasn't in his circumstances, it was in his perception, which in turn transformed his world. Your perception is not a passive window through which you observe life. It is the very lens that creates your reality. Every thought you entertain is a seed planted in the fertile ground of universal consciousness. The law of attraction responds not to your words alone, but to the deep-seated beliefs that water these seeds day after day. Your reflection in the mirror tells a story, not of your physical form, but of the beliefs you hold about yourself. When you gaze into your own eyes, do you see limitation or possibility? Do you recognize the divine spark that has always resided within? The ancient practice of mirror work serves as a gateway to transformation. Stand before your reflection each evening as the day draws to a close. Let your eyes soften with compassion. Allow a gentle smile to grace your lips, not as a mask, but as an acknowledgement of your innate worth. Speak your new truth with unwavering conviction. I am loved. I am worthy. I am abundance manifest. Feel these words resonate in every cell of your being until your reflection radiates the light you've always carried within. Just as the moon draws the tides and the sun calls forth the flowers, your beliefs pull toward you the experiences that match their frequency. The mirror before you is more than glass. It is a portal to the reality you choose to create. Chapter 4. The River of Emotion. In the ancient scrolls of wisdom, a truth emerges like sunlight through morning mist. Emotions are the language of the soul, speaking directly to the universe. As water must flow to remain pure, so too must feelings move freely through your being. Long ago, Marta carried her emotions like stones in a sealed vessel, each unexpressed feeling weighing heavier than the last. Her dreams felt distant, her path unclear, as though walking through thick fog. Yet the universe, in its infinite wisdom, began to whisper to her heart, "Emotions are not meant to be imprisoned, but to flow like a crystal stream." Through the sacred practice of release, Marta discovered that each feeling, whether joy or sorrow, excitement or fear, carried vital energy. As she learned to acknowledge these emotions, letting them pass through her like wind through leaves, the fog began to lift. Her manifestations, once stagnant, started moving with renewed vigor. Emil's journey mirrors this truth. His anger had become a wall between himself and abundance, each brick laid with resentment and frustration. The universe guided him to a simple yet powerful realization. Gratitude dissolves anger as surely as sunshine melts frost. With each moment of appreciation, his rigid resistance softened. Where once stood barriers, doorways appeared. The law of attraction responds not just to thoughts, but to the energy of feelings flowing through you. When emotions are honored and released, they create a current that carries manifestations forward. Like a river that cannot flow upstream, trapped emotions block the natural order of abundance. You possess this same power of emotional alchemy. Each feeling that moves through you is neither good nor bad. It simply is. By allowing emotions to flow naturally, you align with the universe's perpetual motion. This is the ancient art of emotional release, practiced by those who understood that feelings are the wind in the sails of manifestation. The practice of the flowing river. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Today, name one feeling that dwells within you. Perhaps it is joy, perhaps sadness, perhaps something without a name. Breathe into this feeling fully, as though filling your entire being with its presence. Then, with gentle awareness, let it drift away as though on a river's surface. Watch it flow downstream, carrying with it any resistance to what is meant to be. Chapter 5. The Power of Words. In the ancient lands where wisdom whispers through time, there lived a woman named Lenny who carried heaviness in her heart. Each morning she would rise and speak of what troubled her. The weather too harsh, the neighbors too loud, the work too demanding. With every complaint she uttered, invisible stones seemed to stack themselves around her spirit, forming walls that grew taller with each passing day. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, responds not to our wishes but to our words, for they are the vessels of our creative power. Just as a master craftsman shapes clay with purposeful hands, your words mold the substance of your reality. They are not mere sounds carried on the wind. They are commands to the great cosmic forces that arrange your circumstances. Lenny's transformation began on the morning she witnessed a small bird building its nest, singing joyfully despite the rain. In that moment, she understood that her words had been laying bricks of limitation rather than weaving threads of possibility. She began to shift her language, speaking of beauty where, before she saw burden, of opportunity where once stood obstacle. In a distant village, there lived a merchant named Hugo, who had long blamed his misfortunes on others. His shop seemed eternally empty, his ventures always falling short. Yet when he learned to replace his critical words with gentle affirmations, The very air around him began to change. I welcome abundance replaced business is poor. I attract kind customers superseded people are difficult. Within months his shop became a gathering place of warmth and prosperity. Your words are not merely descriptions of what is, they are proclamations of what shall be. When you speak, you are not observing reality, you are commanding it into being. The universe bends toward the energy of your declarations, arranging circumstances to match the frequency of your chosen words. As Lenny's walls crumbled and Hugo's world softened, they discovered the ancient truth, that words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. Each syllable you utter carries the power to create or constrain, to liberate or limit. The choice of which seeds to plant rests eternally in your hands. Ancient practice. As the first light touches the horizon each morning, before your feet meet the ground, speak one sentence of kindness to yourself. Let these words be a gentle command to the universe, sealed with the power of love. Feel each word resonate through your being as though it were already manifest. This practice, handed down through generations of wisdom keepers, aligns your speech with the creative force that shapes all reality. Chapter 6. The Vision You Hold. In the quiet depths of an ancient valley, a potter named Ing worked her wheel, shaping vessels that never quite matched the beauty she envisioned in her mind. "Dreams are fanciful," she would mutter, her hands covered in clay. "Best to stay practical." Yet each night, visions of magnificent ceramics danced through her thoughts, pieces that seemed to capture light itself within their glazes. As seasons passed, Inga noticed how her dismissal of these visions left an emptiness in her spirit. Then one morning, as sunlight streamed through her workshop window, she witnessed something remarkable. A beam of light struck one of her pots, creating the very pattern she had seen in her dreams. In that moment, she understood. Her visions weren't mere fancy, but rather blueprints the universe had planted within her soul. The truth echoes across time. Every masterpiece, every innovation, every triumph first existed as a vision in someone's mind. These visions are not random imaginings, but rather the universe's way of showing you what you are capable of creating. When you hold a vision with unwavering focus, you initiate an invisible process of manifestation that begins arranging circumstances in your favor. Kurt, a merchant in a bustling market, understood this principle intuitively. Each morning, before opening his shop, he would take time to sketch his aspirations in a small notebook. At first, they were simple drawings, a larger storefront, shelves lined with exotic goods, customers flowing through his doors. He infused each drawing with feeling, imagining the sounds, scents, and energy of his thriving business. Within months, opportunities began appearing as if by magic. A prime location became available. New suppliers sought him out. His once modest shop transformed into the very image he had drawn countless times. The universe had responded to his consistent vision, bringing forth the physical manifestation of what he had first created in his mind. You, too, possess this power of vision. The dreams that persist in your heart are not random wishes. They are glimpses of what the universe is ready to manifest through you. When you embrace your visions instead of dismissing them, you align with the creative force that shapes reality itself. Begin now with this timeless practice. Close your eyes. Picture your dream vividly and linger in its reality until it feels familiar instead of far away. Chapter 7. Gratitude as Magnet. In a village among rolling hills lived a woman named Erna, whose days were spent tallying what she lacked. Her lips formed constant murmurs of not enough money, not enough time, not enough love. Like water through cupped hands, abundance seemed to slip away faster the tighter she tried to grasp it. Until one autumn morning, when frost painted her window in delicate patterns, Erna noticed how the light transformed each icy crystal into a prism of colors. In that moment, she saw beauty where she had expected only cold. Something shifted in her heart, and she began to count these small gifts instead of her perceived shortages. The universe operates through an ancient principle. What you acknowledge expands. Gratitude acts as a magnetic force, drawing toward you more experiences that mirror your appreciation. When you recognize the wealth already present in your life, you tune your spirit to the frequency of abundance. Carl, a humble scribe, discovered this truth through his own journey. Each evening he began noting simple pleasures in a leather-bound journal: the warmth of sunlight on his face, the smell of fresh bread from the baker's shop, the kind word from a stranger. At first, it seemed a modest practice, yet soon his days began filling with unexpected blessings. A client would leave an extra coin for his services. A rare book he had long sought would appear in the marketplace. Friends would invite him to share their hearth and meal. The more he expressed thanks, the more life offered reasons for gratitude. This is not mere coincidence, but rather the law of attraction responding to the energy of appreciation. When you choose gratitude, you declare to the universe that you are ready to receive more goodness. Each thank you becomes a seed that grows into greater abundance. The practice is simple, yet transformative. Before sleep, choose one gratitude and let it glow in your chest as a beacon pulling joy toward tomorrow. Chapter 8. Letting Go of Resistance. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Rosa stood at her stall, clutching her daily schedule with white knuckles. Each hour was meticulously planned, every moment accounted for. Yet despite her rigid control, prosperity seemed to dance just beyond her reach, like autumn leaves carried by a playful wind. When you grasp too tightly at life's flow, you create resistance against the very abundance seeking to reach you. The universe operates through a divine dance of giving and receiving, expansion and contraction. Each breath you take demonstrates this eternal rhythm. The inhale must be followed by release. Rosa's transformation began when an old sage noticed her troubled expression. "Your hands are so full of plans," he observed. "There's no room for gifts to enter." His words carried the weight of ages, touching something deep within her soul. That evening, she loosened her grip on her carefully constructed timeline and allowed herself to simply be. The law of surrender reveals that what you resist persists. When you release your iron grip on outcomes, you create space for the universe to work its magic. This doesn't mean abandoning action. Rather, it means acting from a place of inspired flow rather than desperate control. Max discovered this truth in his own way. As a merchant who once measured success in careful ledgers and precise predictions, he found himself exhausted by constant calculation. One day, watching children play in the square, He noticed how their joy came not from planning but from pure presence. Something shifted in him then. He began to trust in the natural unfolding of events. To his amazement, when he stopped forcing every moment, opportunities appeared effortlessly. Customers arrived at precisely the right times, deals manifested with perfect timing, and his business flourished in ways his rigid plans had never allowed. The universe responds not to your grip, but to your openness. Like a flower opening to morning light, your willingness to surrender creates the very conditions for abundance to flow. When you release your attachment to how things must be, you allow them to be as they are meant to be. Sit quietly with palms open and visualize releasing your grip, trusting unseen hands to carry your concerns. Chapter 9. Trusting the Unseen. In a village among ancient hills lived a merchant named Ida, who kept ledgers of every transaction, every coin, every promise made and fulfilled. Her mind craved certainty, like flowers crave sunlight. Though blessed with natural talents for business, she hesitated to expand beyond her small shop, always waiting for guaranteed success before taking any step forward. Each morning, she would study market reports, gather testimonials, and analyze trends until doubt exhausted her dreams into mere wishes. "Show me it will work," she would whisper to the universe, "and then I shall begin." But the universe works not through proof, but through trust. The law of faith moves with its own wisdom, flowing like water around stones of doubt. When you demand evidence before believing, you place a barrier before the very force that brings your desires to life. The universe responds not to your proof, but to your certainty. In the same village lived a potter named Oscar. His hands shaped clay with the same sureness that his heart shaped dreams. While others questioned his decision to craft unique pieces that had yet to find buyers, Oscar worked with unwavering trust. "The ones who will cherish these pieces are already on their way," he would say, his hands steady at the wheel. He did not wait for orders or guarantees. Instead, he listened to the quiet voice within that guided his creations. Soon, travelers from distant lands began arriving at his door, each seeking exactly the pieces he had crafted in faith. His pottery became known as vessels of inspiration, sought after by those who recognized the power of his trust, embedded in every curve and glaze. Your desires come alive through the same law that guided Oscar's hands. When you trust before seeing, the universe conspires to match your faith with form. Every dream you hold exists first in the unseen realm, waiting not for proof, but for your unwavering belief to draw it forth. Consider how a seed knows to reach toward light it cannot yet see, how birds navigate by stars hidden behind clouds. The entire natural world operates on implicit trust in unseen forces. You are no different. Your spirit knows the way to your good, even when your mind demands maps and guarantees. Release the need for evidence. Let your faith be the proof you seek. For in the moment you trust what your heart knows, the universe begins its miraculous work of transformation, turning invisible certainty into visible reality. When fear rises to challenge your faith, remember this ancient practice. Place your hand upon your heart and softly speak these words: "The unseen already carries me toward my good." Repeat this gentle affirmation until you feel faith growing stronger within you. like a flame, steadily brightening the darkness of doubt. Chapter 10. Becoming the Magnet. In a bustling marketplace long ago, there lived a young woman named Hannah, who spent her days pursuing everything she thought would bring her joy. She chased after merchants with promises of wealth, ran breathlessly toward opportunities that seemed to slip away, and exhausted herself trying to grasp what always remained just beyond reach. Each evening, she would return home weary, wondering why fulfillment kept eluding her grasp. One day, while resting beneath an ancient olive tree, an old woman approached her and spoke words that would transform her understanding. "The flower does not chase the bee. It is the flower's essence that draws the bee near." This simple truth awakened something deep within Hannah's heart. She began to understand that her ceaseless pursuit had only pushed away what she sought. Instead of chasing, she started embodying the qualities she desired. Rather than pursuing wealth, she cultivated abundance in her thoughts and actions. Instead of seeking love, she became love itself. As she shifted her focus from outer seeking to inner being, remarkable changes unfolded. Opportunities now sought her out, drawn by the magnetic force of her transformed nature. Her garden flourished without strain, her relationships deepened effortlessly, and prosperity flowed as naturally as water finding its course. In a distant village lived a humble baker named Peter, who discovered this same truth through his own path. Each morning, he chose to embody kindness, not to gain anything, but simply because it was his nature. He offered warm bread to those who couldn't pay, shared encouraging words with troubled souls, and smiled genuinely at every person who entered his shop. Peter never sought recognition or reward, yet his simple practice of being kindness itself drew countless blessings. Mysterious benefactors appeared to help expand his bakery. Strangers became friends who enriched his life immeasurably. His reputation spread far beyond the village, not through his effort, but through the natural attraction of his authentic goodness. The universe responds not to what you chase, but to what you are. When you embody the qualities you seek, be it abundance, love, peace, or joy, you become a natural magnet for these experiences. Like attracts like in the grand dance of creation. Ancient practice. Choose one quality to radiate today: peace, joy, or love. Don't try to get it or achieve it. Simply be it, as naturally as the sun shines or water flows. Watch with wonder as life begins to mirror back this vibration into your path. The universe cannot help but respond to the essence you embody. Part 2. The Power of Alignment. Chapter 11. The Language of Frequency. A wise sage once lived atop a mountain, observing how travelers approached his dwelling. Before they uttered a single word, he knew their intentions by the energy they carried. Some climbed with heavy steps of doubt, while others ascended with lightness in their hearts. The sage understood a truth that would later find its way to Alma. In the heart of a vibrant city, Alma worked as a healer. Day after day, she noticed a peculiar pattern. Her patients responded to her presence before any treatment began. On mornings when she felt peaceful, even the most anxious visitors would relax upon entering her room. When worry clouded her mind, even typically cheerful patients seemed tense. This observation led her to a profound realization. Her inner state was communicating itself invisibly, like music without sound. She began to understand that every being broadcasts their frequency into the world, creating ripples that touch everything and everyone around them. The universe speaks in vibrations. Each thought, each feeling resonates at its own frequency, sending waves through the fabric of existence. These waves attract or repel experiences that match their nature. Your emotional state becomes your energetic signature, drawing to you circumstances that harmonize with your inner song. In a distant town lived Bruno, whose heart had grown bitter after years of disappointment. His days were colored by resentment, and he found himself increasingly isolated. No one could bear to stay long in his presence, though they couldn't explain why. The very air around him seemed heavy with unspoken grievances. Then one morning, Bruno witnessed a child's pure laughter echoing through the street. Something stirred within him, a remembrance of joy he had long forgotten. In that moment, he made a choice that would alter the course of his life. He would cultivate joy deliberately, regardless of circumstances. Each dawn, Bruno would stand in his garden, consciously choosing to embrace happiness. He began to notice how flowers seemed brighter, how the morning air felt fresher. Without seeking companionship, he found himself drawing others near. New friendships blossomed naturally, attracted by the warm frequency he now emanated. Your frequency is your message to the universe. It speaks louder than words, clearer than actions. When you consciously choose your emotional state, you become a tuning fork, setting the tone for all that follows. The world cannot help but respond to the vibration you maintain. Ancient practice. As the sun rises each morning, pause and choose how you wish to feel. Perhaps it is peace, joy, or love. Close your eyes and breathe deeply into this chosen emotion until it fills every cell of your being. Let it become your personal melody, carried silently within you throughout the day. Like a secret song, it will conduct the symphony of your experiences, drawing to you those things that resonate with your chosen frequency. Chapter 12. The Stillness Within. In ancient times, a silent chamber existed in every temple, where those who sought wisdom would enter to commune with the infinite. These sacred spaces held no decorations, no distractions, only the pure potential of stillness. This truth remains unchanged. Within silence lies the seed of all creation. Mina, a merchant's daughter, filled her days with constant motion. Her mind raced with endless tasks, her home buzzed with activity, and her heart yearned for something she couldn't name. Each night she collapsed into bed, exhausted yet unfulfilled, until one morning she encountered an old sage in the marketplace. "Your spirit speaks," the sage told her, "but its voice is drowned by the clamor of your thoughts." Those words awakened something in Mina. She began rising before dawn, finding a quiet corner where the world still slept. At first, the silence felt uncomfortable, even threatening. But as days passed, she discovered that stillness was not empty. It was alive with possibility. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. Like Mina, you may have filled your world with noise to escape the vast silence that seems to threaten your sense of self. Yet it is precisely within that silence that your true power awaits. When you quiet the endless chatter of thoughts, you align with the frequency of creation itself. Franz understood this truth through necessity. As a skilled craftsman, his hands were always busy, his mind constantly planning the next project. Success came easily, yet satisfaction eluded him. Exhausted by endless striving, he stumbled upon an ancient practice, sitting in pure silence for 5 minutes each day. At first it seemed impossible. His thoughts raced like wild horses. But gradually, in those moments of stillness, Franz discovered that clarity didn't come from thinking harder. It arose naturally when his mind grew quiet. Solutions appeared effortlessly, creativity flowed unbidden, and opportunities emerged as if by magic. The language of the universe is silence. It is the space between thoughts where inspiration dwells. It is the pause between breaths where wisdom flourishes. It is the quiet moment before dawn when your spirit speaks most clearly. You need not retreat to a mountaintop or abandon your daily life. The power of silence awaits in small moments, the space between activities, the quiet of early morning, the stillness before sleep. These are your temples, your sacred chambers where transformation becomes possible. Ancient practice. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and welcome silence not as emptiness, but as the richest presence you could know. Chapter 13. The Yes That Opens Doors. In ages past, wise ones understood a truth now forgotten, that each moment carries an invitation from the universe. Like dewdrops on morning grass, opportunities glisten before us, waiting to be claimed with a simple yes. A young woman named Hugoina lived in perpetual hesitation. When friends invited her to gatherings, she crafted careful excuses. When chances for advancement appeared at work, she convinced herself she wasn't ready. Each no felt like protection, yet it was quietly building walls around her spirit. The universe speaks in whispers of possibility. Each invitation, whether grand or humble, carries seeds of transformation. Yet these seeds can only take root in soil made fertile by acceptance. Your yes is the water that allows them to grow. Consider Dieter, a merchant who once guarded his time and resources so carefully that abundance could find no way to reach him. One day, he chose differently. When a neighbor asked for help with their garden, he said yes. Through this simple act, he met others who shared his interests. One connection led to another, until opportunity flowed as naturally as a stream finding its path to the sea. The law of attraction responds not to what you want, but to what you welcome. Each yes signals to the universe your readiness to receive. Like opening windows in a long-closed room, saying yes allows fresh energy to circulate through your life. Your resistance may whisper that saying yes is dangerous, that it might lead to loss or disappointment. Yet the universe operates through expansion, not contraction. Each genuine yes aligned with your spirit opens new pathways for abundance to find you. This truth echoes through the ages. What you resist persists. What you embrace transforms. The power of yes lies not in reckless acceptance of all things, but in recognizing those subtle invitations that resonate with your highest good. Begin simply. Let your yes be like a pebble dropped in still water, creating ripples of possibility. Trust that the universe never brings you opportunities you cannot handle, only those that will help you grow. Whisper yes to one small opportunity that feels right today, and let it open into something greater. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Balance of Giving. In the ancient scrolls of wisdom, A truth shimmers like gold. The universe moves in cycles of eternal exchange. As the ocean gives to the sky and receives again as rain, all of life participates in this sacred dance of giving and receiving. Annie stood among her flowers each morning, tending them with boundless care. Her garden overflowed with blooms she shared freely with neighbors and strangers alike. Yet when others extended gifts toward her, she withdrew like a shell closing against the tide. "I need nothing," she would say, "or please give it to someone else." Though her words seemed humble, they created an invisible barrier around her heart. The law of attraction teaches that energy must flow both ways. Like a river that cannot run in only one direction, the current of abundance requires both outlets and inlets. When you close yourself to receiving, you unknowingly dam the very flow you wish to create. Rolf understood this lesson through experience. As a craftsman, he poured his heart into creating beautiful objects for others, yet he struggled to accept praise or payment for his work. He would brush off compliments and undervalue his creations, believing his joy should come solely from giving. But this imbalance left him feeling depleted, like a well drawn from too often without being replenished. Then one day, a child offered him a simple drawing she had made, inspired by his work. As he began to refuse it, he saw the pure delight in her eyes, the same joy he felt when others accepted his gifts. In that moment he realized that by denying her offering, he was diminishing both their happiness. With this insight, he opened his heart to receive. A remarkable transformation followed. As Rolf learned to accept gifts, praise, and fair payment with grace, his capacity for giving expanded exponentially. His work became more inspired, his generosity more sustainable. He discovered that receiving was not taking. It was participating in the sacred cycle of exchange that sustains all life. The universe seeks balance in all things. When you give freely but refuse to receive, you create resistance in the natural flow of abundance. Like breathing, both inhale and exhale are necessary for life to flourish. Your acceptance of gifts, whether material or spiritual, keeps the energy moving, allowing more to flow through you to others. Welcome one gift offered to you, no matter how small, and accept it fully as nourishment for the cycle of flow. Chapter 15. Walking with Trust. In the depths of a mountain village, there lived a woman named Hedi, who carried worry like stones in her pockets. Each morning, she would wake before dawn, her mind already racing with thoughts of what might go wrong. She stored extra food for winter even in spring, planned 3 routes to every destination, and kept her dreams small to avoid disappointment. The weight of her fears pressed heavily upon her spirit, until she could barely lift her eyes to see the beauty around her. The universe speaks through the language of trust, and your readiness to receive its gifts determines the flow of abundance in your life. When you grip too tightly to fear, you leave no room for magic to enter. The natural order seeks to support you, just as the earth rises to meet each footstep you take. In a distant town, Otole discovered this truth through an unexpected turn of events. As a merchant who had lost everything in a fire, he stood at the crossroads of despair and possibility. With nothing left to lose, he chose to trust the whispers of his heart that urged him to travel to a neighboring village. Without a map or plan, he allowed each moment to guide him forward. What awaited him was beyond anything his worried mind could have conceived. a community in need of exactly his skills, a partner who believed in his vision, and opportunities that bloomed like spring flowers after rain. The law of attraction responds not to your words or wishes alone, but to your willingness to move forward in faith. When you release the need to control every outcome, you align with the natural flow of abundance that has always been waiting to support you. Your trust becomes a bridge between what is and what could be. Trust is not the absence of fear, but the courage to take one more step despite it. The universe honors this courage by revealing paths that were invisible to worried eyes. Just as water flows around obstacles rather than forcing its way through, your life gains momentum when you learn to trust the natural unfolding of your journey. Ancient practice. As you walk today, imagine the ground itself rising to support you, each step proof of trust rewarded. Chapter 16. The Echo of Joy. The gentle breeze of truth now whispers to you an eternal secret. Joy is not a reward that follows achievement. It is the very force that summons achievement into being. Just as the sun does not wait for flowers to bloom before shining, your radiance need not wait for circumstances to align. In the markets of an ancient city, Alcida counted her coins carefully each morning, believing happiness would arrive only when her purse grew heavier. She watched other merchants laugh and jest, thinking them foolish for celebrating before prosperity arrived. Yet as seasons passed, she noticed something remarkable. Those who smiled most freely seemed to draw the most abundant trade. Through observation, Alcida uncovered a truth that had escaped her. Joy was not the child of success, but its parent. When she finally allowed herself to feel lightness in her heart despite her circumstances, her entire world transformed. Customers were drawn to her newfound warmth. Fellow merchants shared opportunities more freely, and the very air around her stall seemed to shimmer with possibility. This wisdom found another witness in Gunther, a craftsman who had always believed his work must be perfect before he could feel satisfaction. Each day he toiled with furrowed brow, postponing happiness until his creations matched his exacting standards. Yet something shifted when he began humming while he worked, smiling at the process rather than fixating on the outcome. His hands moved with new grace, inspiration flowed more easily, and clients responded to the joy now woven into each piece. The universe speaks in the language of light-heartedness. When you choose joy first, before the evidence of good fortune appears, you activate the most powerful magnetic force available to human consciousness. Joy is not frivolous. It is the very signature of the divine expressing through you. Your task is not to wait for life to give you reasons to celebrate. Your power lies in celebrating first, knowing that life must then align with your chosen frequency. The wisdom keepers of old understood this. Their ceremonies of gratitude and celebration often preceded the harvest, not followed it. Through joy, you send ripples into the quantum field of infinite possibility. These ripples return as circumstances that match your vibration. This is why those who laugh easily seem to live charmed lives. They have discovered that joy is not the destination, but the vehicle. The ancient practice offered to you now is elegantly simple. Laugh today, even without a reason, and watch as life quickly supplies the reason. Chapter 17. The Courage to Release. The weight of what was bears down with invisible force, yet within this moment lies an invitation to freedom. The past is not a prison sentence, but a chrysalis ready to crack open, allowing your transformed self to emerge. Meta carried memories like stones in her pockets, each disappointment and regret weighing down her steps. She believed holding tight to these experiences would protect her from future pain. Yet with each passing season, the burden grew heavier until even joy felt too exhausting to reach for. In the depths of a sleepless night, Meta discovered a truth as old as time itself. That which we clutch most desperately becomes our cage. The universe whispers constantly of release, of the natural rhythm of letting go, just as trees surrender their leaves without resistance. This ancient wisdom found its echo in Ulrich's journey. For years he defined himself by a single business venture that had crumbled. The story of that failure became the lens through which he viewed every opportunity, casting shadows where light might have entered. But one morning, gazing at dawn's first light, he realized how much energy he spent keeping this old tale alive. With trembling courage, Ulrich began speaking to his past differently. Rather than rehearsing the familiar script of regret, he acknowledged the experience with gentle understanding. "You were a chapter," he whispered to the memory, "but you are not the whole book." As his grip loosened, something extraordinary occurred. Space opened for new possibilities. Ideas flowed more freely, unencumbered by the weight of what had been. His energy, once spent maintaining old wounds, now fueled fresh endeavors. The universe operates through constant renewal. Each moment arrives pristine, unburdened by what came before. Your power lies not in perfect recall of past events, but in your willingness to release their hold on your present. This truth reverberates through the ages. Courage manifests not in the strength to hold on, but in the grace to let go. The past, honored and released, becomes a foundation rather than a fortress. Speak gently to your past today. I release you with love, and feel the breath of freedom return. Chapter 18. Abundance as a State. In a village among ancient hills lived Rhea, who measured abundance by the coins in her purse. Each night she counted her savings, yet the numbers never brought her peace. The more she focused on what was lacking, the more scarcity seemed to shadow her steps. Then one morning, her young nephew's laughter echoed through her garden. The sound filled her heart so completely that she forgot about her worries. In that moment she felt rich beyond measure. As days passed, she began noticing other forms of wealth surrounding her. The warmth of sunlight on her face, the strength in her limbs as she worked, and the love in her friends' embraces. The universe speaks in the language of abundance, but often we listen with ears trained only for the jingle of coins. True abundance flows not just through bank accounts, but through every breath, every smile, every moment of peace. It exists in the air you breathe, the thoughts you think, and the love you share. Joseph, a merchant in the town square, understood this truth only after losing his fortune. At first he felt empty, believing abundance had abandoned him. But as he sat in his smaller house, he noticed how the morning light painted his walls with gold, how his neighbors shared their bread without hesitation, and how his mind felt clearer without the weight of constant counting. He began greeting each day with gratitude instead of worry. Soon, opportunities appeared like spring flowers after rain, not just for business, but for connection, for learning, for growth. his life filled with riches that no thief could steal, wisdom, friendship, and inner peace. The law of attraction responds not to what you have, but to how abundant you feel. When you recognize the wealth already present in your life, in your health, your relationships, your experiences, you align with the natural flow of universal abundance. Like attracts like, and feeling abundant draws more abundance toward you. The ancient practice. Find a quiet moment as the sun rises or sets. Place your hand over your heart, feeling its steady rhythm, a reminder of the abundance of life flowing through you. Repeat softly, "I am already abundant," until your body believes it without question. Let this truth settle into your bones, becoming as natural as breathing. Chapter 19. The Power of Presence. In a distant mountain village, a basket weaver named Line spent her days crafting beautiful vessels while her mind wove darker patterns. Her thoughts tangled between memories of past disappointments and anxious visions of future struggles. Each morning she would wake counting yesterday's mistakes, and each night she would sleep dreading tomorrow's challenges. Though her hands created beauty, her spirit remained trapped between two times, neither of which truly existed. Among the same mountain paths walked Siegfried, a woodcarver whose life had once mirrored Line's restless mind. Yet he had discovered a sacred truth through his craft, that only in the present moment could transformation occur. As his knife traced patterns in wood, he began to notice the subtle variations in grain, the way sunlight played across each cut, the quiet rhythm of his own breath. The law of creation speaks through the language of now. When your attention rests fully in the present, you become one with the infinite power that shapes all existence. It is here, in this sacred moment, that the universe perpetually births itself anew. Your thoughts of yesterday are but shadows, and your fears of tomorrow are merely mist. Neither holds substance in the eternal now. Watch as a child at play. They exist purely in the present moment, and in that state, joy flows naturally. Observe how artists lose themselves in their work, how lovers forget time exists when gazing into each other's eyes. These are glimpses of presence, windows into the true nature of creation. As Siegfried immersed himself in each moment, he noticed how the birds' songs became clearer, how the mountain air carried subtle fragrances he had never perceived before. The texture of bark beneath his fingers, the warmth of sunlight on his face. Each sensation became a doorway to deeper peace. And in that peace he found that life began responding differently, as though the universe itself delighted in his attention. The present moment is not a concept. It is the only place where life actually exists. It is here that your thoughts shape reality. Here that your feelings magnetize experience. Here that the law of attraction operates with perfect precision. When you align with the now, you align with the very force of creation itself. Through presence, Siegfried discovered that peace was not something to be achieved, but rather uncovered. It had always existed beneath the layers of mental noise. Each moment he spent fully present became a seed, growing into a garden of tranquility that surrounded him wherever he went. Today, notice one present moment so deeply it silences both your past and your future. Let your attention rest completely in what is, until time itself seems to pause in recognition of your presence. Chapter 20. Becoming a Vessel of Light. Within you dwells a light so natural, you may have forgotten it exists. Like a window that believes it must create sunshine rather than simply allowing it through, you may have struggled to manufacture what already flows as your essence. The universe does not demand that you generate power. It asks only that you remember you are already a channel for its infinite radiance. This truth whispers in every spiritual teaching passed down through ages. You are not separate from the source of all light, but rather a unique expression through which it longs to shine. Consider how Tilda once believed she needed special qualities or achievements to be worthy of sharing her gifts. She would strain to appear brighter, better, more valuable, exhausting herself in the process. Yet in a moment of grace, she understood that just as flowers need not force their blooms, she needed only to allow what was natural to emerge. The law of attraction responds not to effort, but to allowance. When you cease trying to manufacture light, and instead open to the radiance already within you, you become a natural beacon that draws others to their own inner brilliance. Arno discovered this truth through a simple practice. As he walked through his days, he began silently blessing each person he encountered: the busy shopkeeper, the tired mother, the frustrated stranger. He didn't try to fix or change them. He simply acknowledged the light within them, even when they couldn't see it themselves. Soon, he noticed his own path growing brighter, as though each blessing he offered was a lamp being lit in his own spirit. This is the paradox of spiritual radiance. The more you recognize it in others, the more it expresses through you. You need not strain to shine. Your task is simply to remove the veils of doubt and unworthiness that have hidden your natural luminescence. Just as the moon doesn't create light, but reflects the sun's radiance, you are designed to be a perfect reflection of divine light. When you trust this, your presence naturally illuminates spaces without effort. Your words carry healing, your actions inspire, and your very being uplifts. Not because you are trying, but because you are allowing what is already true. Before you rest tonight, picture yourself glowing gently, like a lantern brightening spaces beyond your sight. Part 3. Manifestation Embodied. Chapter 21. The Dance of Receiving. In the quietest corner of a distant village lived Ilse, whose heart was like a tightly closed flower, refusing the sunlight of others' kindness. Though generous in spirit, she believed blessings must be earned through struggle and toil. Each time someone offered help or praise, she would wave it away, saying, "No, I haven't done enough to deserve this." The universe speaks through the language of giving and receiving, an eternal dance as natural as breath itself. When you close yourself to receiving, you create a dam in the river of abundance. This resistance doesn't merely affect you. It disrupts the sacred flow that sustains all of creation. Bernd, a gifted craftsman, walked a similar path. When customers praised his work, he would look away and mumble disclaimers about its imperfections. He felt unworthy of recognition, believing his creations were never quite good enough. But one morning, as sunlight streamed through his workshop window, illuminating the beauty of his handiwork, something shifted within him. Instead of deflecting the next compliment, he simply said, "Thank you," letting the word settle in his heart. This small shift created ripples. As Bernd learned to accept praise gracefully, more opportunities found their way to his door. His work began appearing in prestigious galleries, not because it had changed, but because he had allowed himself to be seen. The law of circulation moves like wind through leaves. It must flow both ways to create harmony. When you resist receiving, you unknowingly block the very abundance you wish to share with others. Your acceptance of blessings isn't greed. It's grace. It's an acknowledgement of the universe's endless desire to nurture all its creations. Think of a flower that closes its petals to the rain, believing it must generate its own water. How long could it sustain itself? You are not meant to be self-sufficient in all things. You are meant to be part of the great exchange of energy that flows through all life. The wisdom of receiving teaches that worthiness isn't earned, it's inherent. When you accept a gift, a compliment, or assistance with grace, you honor both the giver and the divine source from which all blessings flow. This acceptance creates a channel through which more abundance can flow, not just to you, but through you to others. Practice. If kindness comes your way, accept it today as though you are watering the cycle of abundance. Chapter 22. The Fire of Intention. A merchant once lived in a humble village, tending his small shop with care but dreaming of greater heights. Each morning he would gaze at the distant mountains and whisper, "One day, perhaps." His wishes floated like leaves on the wind, directionless and easily scattered. The universe speaks in the language of clarity. Your dreams must carry the weight of intention, not the whispers of maybe. When you plant a seed, you do not wonder if it might become a flower or a tree. You know precisely what you have sown. The power of manifestation awakens fully when your intentions shine with crystal clarity. Vague desires produce vague results, while precise intentions carve pathways through the fabric of reality. Each thought you release into the universe acts as a beacon, drawing toward you experiences that match its frequency and form. The merchant's fortunes changed the day he stopped saying, "perhaps." Instead, he wrote in his ledger, "By the harvest moon, my shop will serve 3 villages, offering spices from the eastern lands." He felt the truth of these words in his bones. Within weeks, a merchant caravan sought his partnership, and his vision materialized exactly as he had written. The universe responds not to what you wish, but to what you declare with unwavering certainty. When you speak your intentions with clarity, you activate the law of attraction with remarkable precision. Your words become bridges between the unseen and the manifest. Think of the archer who sees the target clearly, who knows the exact point where the arrow will land. This is the power of focused intention. Each morning presents an opportunity to aim your energy with similar precision. You may have noticed that your clearest intentions often manifest with startling accuracy, while your vague hopes remain as distant as clouds. This is no accident. The universe mirrors back to you the exactness of your own vision. Picture yourself as a master artist. You wouldn't begin a masterpiece with uncertain strokes, hoping some form of beauty might emerge. You would see the finished work in your mind's eye, each detail vivid and alive. Your intentions deserve the same careful attention. The law of attraction responds to the crispness of your vision. When you declare your intentions with precision, you create a template that the universe can follow with exacting detail. This is not about controlling outcomes, but about providing clear directions for your creative energy. Remember, The power lies not in wanting, but in knowing, not in hoping, but in claiming. Your intentions are the chisel with which you carve your reality from the marble of possibility. Sacred practice. Take a moment now to sit in stillness. Upon a clean sheet of paper, write one clear, bold intention. Be specific about what you desire to manifest. Feel the truth of it in your heart and seal it with these words: I give thanks for this blessing that already exists in my life. Place this paper where you will see it daily, letting it remind you of the power of clear intention. Chapter 23. Living as if. In the ancient wisdom traditions, masters taught that reality follows belief as surely as a shadow follows form. Yet this teaching holds deeper truth than first appears. It speaks not only of belief, but of embodiment. Your actions hold creative power. Each gesture, each word, each choice you make serves as a declaration to the universe. When you move through your days as if your desires already exist, you become a living magnet for their manifestation. Mia worked in a small bookshop, dreaming of opening her own healing center. For years, she carried this vision like a precious secret, afraid to fully claim it. She would speak of it in whispers of someday and if only. But her transformation began the moment she started living as if her dream was already real. She began arranging her schedule as a healer would. She studied healing texts not as a hopeful student, but as a practicing master. She spoke of her work not as a future possibility, but as a present reality. The universe responded to this shift in her energy. Within months, an unexpected inheritance provided the means to begin her center. Victor faced similar crossroads in his corporate position. Rather than anxiously awaiting news of a promotion, he began carrying himself with the quiet confidence of someone already in a leadership role. He took on additional responsibilities without being asked. He spoke with the measured wisdom of a senior executive. His energy so perfectly matched the position he desired that when the opportunity arose, his selection seemed the most natural choice in the world. The law of attraction responds not just to your thoughts and feelings, but to your entire way of being. When you embody the reality you wish to create, you send a powerful signal to the universe. You demonstrate through your actions that you are ready to receive what you desire. This principle extends beyond material manifestation. If you seek love, move through your day as someone who is deeply loved. If you desire peace, carry yourself with the serenity of one who knows profound peace. If abundance calls to you, walk with the generous spirit of one who has plenty to share. The universe recognizes authenticity. When you truly live as if your desires are present, you transform from someone who wants into someone who has. This subtle shift holds immense power. It moves you from the energy of seeking to the energy of attracting. Your physical reality may not change overnight, but your energetic reality shifts the moment you make this choice. Like a seed breaking through soil, your new reality begins growing the instant you fully embody it. Sacred practice. Choose one desire close to your heart. Today, live as though it is already yours. Let your movements reflect this truth. Speak about it in the present tense. Make choices aligned with this reality. Feel the quiet joy of knowing it belongs to you now. Your actions will become a powerful prayer, calling forth what already exists in the unseen realm. Chapter 24. The Harmony of Action. In a small mountain village there lived a weaver named Ruth who spent years forcing her threads into patterns she believed others expected. Each morning she would sit at her loom, shoulders tense, fingers straining, willing beauty into existence through sheer determination. Yet the more she pushed, the more her creations felt lifeless, lacking the grace she witnessed in nature's own designs. One dawn, as sunlight spilled through her window, Ruth noticed how effortlessly the light danced across her workspace. In that moment, she understood. True creation flows from alignment, not force. She began to weave only when her heart felt light, only when her hands yearned to touch the threads. To her amazement, patterns emerged that surpassed anything she had previously forced into being. The universe operates through this same principle of aligned action. When you move in harmony with your inner wisdom, each step feels as natural as breathing. It is not the quantity of action that manifests your desires, but the quality of energy behind each movement. Consider Felix, a potter who once believed he must strain and struggle to create worthy vessels. His workshop became a place of tension until he discovered the art of aligned action. Instead of pushing himself to work longer hours, he began listening to the clay, moving only when inspiration stirred within. His fingers found their own rhythm, and soon his pottery gained a reputation for possessing an almost magical quality. The law of attraction responds not to the force of your actions, but to their resonance with universal flow. When your movements arise from joy rather than obligation, you enter a state of allowing that magnetizes your desires. Each aligned step multiplies its own momentum, creating a symphony of manifestation. Your power lies not in doing more, but in doing what feels true. The universe does not require your strain or struggle. It invites your natural expression. When you act from this place of alignment, even the smallest movement carries the force of the infinite. Let your actions spring from the well of inspiration, rather than the desert of should. Notice how your body feels when contemplating a step. Tension signals resistance, while lightness indicates alignment. Trust that when you move in harmony with your inner guidance, the universe moves with you, orchestrating circumstances beyond your conscious awareness. Practice. Take one small action today from joy rather than pressure, and watch how it expands into flow. Chapter 25. Holding the Vibration. In the heart of an ancient valley, Lisa tended her garden with unwavering focus. Each morning she would water her plants, speak gentle words to them, and watch them flourish. Yet when storm clouds gathered, fear would grip her heart, and her beloved flowers would wilt despite her previous care. Through this, she discovered a truth as old as time itself, that maintaining a steady vibration matters more than momentary bursts of faith. The universe responds not to fleeting wishes, but to sustained energy. Like a magnet held firmly in place, your consistent vibration draws to you that which matches its frequency. When you allow fear to interrupt your signal, even briefly, the connection weakens, and what you've called forth may slip away. Your manifestations mirror the steadiness of your inner state. Each time you maintain your chosen frequency, be it joy, abundance, or peace, you strengthen the magnetic field around you. This field becomes your natural atmosphere, drawing to you experiences that match its essence. Stefan, a craftsman, learned this wisdom through his work. Initially, his success came in waves, periods of prosperity followed by sudden decline. He noticed these fluctuations aligned perfectly with his emotional states. When anxiety crept in, even briefly, His carefully built momentum would fade. Understanding dawned. Success wasn't about reaching higher peaks but maintaining stable ground. He began nurturing his inner calm like a precious flame, protecting it from the winds of doubt. Rather than chase intense moments of manifestation, he cultivated a gentle, persistent faith. Gradually, his results stabilized. Clients returned consistently, projects flowed smoothly, and opportunities appeared with natural timing. The secret lay not in forcing outcomes, but in holding steady the frequency of peace within himself. Your power lies not in perfect moments, but in sustained harmony. When you find yourself in alignment, in those precious instances of clarity, confidence, or contentment, resist the urge to move quickly past them. Instead, let these moments expand, filling your awareness completely. The law of attraction responds most powerfully to those who maintain their chosen vibration with gentle persistence. Like a musician holding a note, allow your energy to resonate clearly and consistently. This steady tone becomes the song to which the universe dances. Practice. When calm arrives, settle into it fully. Feel its presence in your body, letting it spread like warm sunlight through your being. Breathe with it, move with it. Hold it gently as though it's a delicate butterfly that has chosen to rest in your hands. Let this feeling become familiar, comfortable, like a favorite chair that welcomes you home. The longer you maintain this vibration, the more naturally it flows, until staying centered becomes your default state rather than an effort. Chapter 26. When Delay is Grace. In the depths of an ancient valley, there lived a young weaver named Mira, whose fingers danced across her loom each day, creating intricate patterns that seemed to capture starlight itself. Yet beneath her artistic grace lay a storm of impatience. Each time she set an intention, planted a seed of desire, or wove a prayer into her tapestries, she expected immediate results. When they failed to materialize swiftly, anger would rise within her like thunder. Days turned to weeks as Mira watched others receive their blessings, while hers appeared suspended in the mists of time. Her hands began to shake with frustration, causing mistakes in her weaving that required hours to undo. The more she pushed against time's gentle flow, the more tangled her creations became. One morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, Mira discovered a truth that changed everything. A merchant arrived, seeking her finest work for a royal commission. Had her earlier pieces been chosen months before, when she thought she was ready, they would have fallen far short of the mastery she now possessed. The delay had been grace itself, allowing her skill to ripen into excellence. In a distant city lived Leon, a gifted musician who composed melodies that touched the soul. He yearned for recognition, sending his works to every patron and performance hall. Each rejection felt like a door slamming shut. His heart grew heavy with questions about his worth as opportunities seemed to pass him by. Yet, time held wisdom Leon could not see. The venues that turned him away were soon shuttered by circumstance. The patrons who ignored him later lost their influence. When his music finally found its audience, it was in a grand hall whose acoustics perfectly matched his compositions. The waiting had preserved him from lesser paths that would have dimmed his light. Through their journeys, both Mira and Leon discovered that the universe operates on perfect timing. What appears as delay often serves as protection, allowing circumstances to align in ways our limited vision cannot comprehend. Their stories whisper an ageless truth. Patience is not passive waiting, but active trust in the wisdom of divine timing. The pauses in our manifestation are not empty spaces, but sacred moments where grace arranges details beyond our knowing. Like a master choreographer, the universe moves all pieces into position, ensuring each blessing arrives at the precise moment it will serve its highest purpose. When anticipation tests your faith, remember that timing is a gift. Each delay carries hidden mercy. Each pause holds protection. The very resistance to waiting often dissolves when we recognize these intervals as essential parts of our unfolding good. When waiting tests your spirit, settle into stillness and whisper softly to yourself, "This pause is protection." Let these words wrap around your heart like a warm embrace, soothing the urgency that breeds discontent. Feel peace descend as you recognize that divine timing never fails to deliver what belongs to you at the perfect moment. Chapter 27. The Sacred Imagination. In the quiet dawn, Ava sat at her window, dismissing the images that danced in her mind. "Such flights of fancy," she would mutter, pushing away visions of the life she yearned to create. Like many, she had been taught that imagination was merely escape, a retreat from what was real and practical. Yet something shifted when she witnessed the master craftsman in her village. Before touching wood or stone, he would close his eyes, his hands moving through empty air, as though already shaping what only he could see. "The piece exists first in spirit," he would say. "I simply help it emerge into form." This truth echoed through time. The great temple was first a thought before it became stone. The healing garden was first a dream before it bloomed with herbs. Every creation that now stood solid and real had once been only a whisper in someone's imagination. Hugo understood this ancient wisdom. Each morning, he would sit in his simple room, eyes closed, feeling the warmth of success as though it already embraced him. He didn't just picture better circumstances. He lived them in his mind with such clarity that his body responded with genuine joy. His neighbors thought him strange until they watched his imagined life gradually materialize, as naturally as dawn follows night. Imagination, you see, is not about escaping reality. It is about instructing it. It is the sacred workshop where the divine collaborates with your deepest intentions. When you dare to imagine vividly, you are not pretending. You are practicing the art of creation itself. Think of the master painter who sees the finished work before the first brushstroke, or the mother who loves her child before it draws breath. This is the power you hold, to nurture what is not yet visible until it gains the strength to step into form. Let this wisdom sink deeply. Your imagination is not a toy but a tool of manifestation, as real as any hammer or plow. It is through this divine workshop that formless potential takes shape, waiting for your direction. Practice. Spend 5 minutes imagining vividly, not someday, but now, until you feel as though you just returned from the future. Chapter 28. Love as Frequency. In the depths of night, when the moon casts silver shadows, truth whispers most clearly. Like the gentle unfurling of a flower, understanding blooms in moments of surrender. Such was the wisdom that found Ida, who spent years pursuing love as though it were a distant treasure to be captured. Night after night, Ida wandered through crowded streets and empty cafes, searching faces for signs of her destined connection. She crafted elaborate plans, followed advice from countless sources, yet love remained elusive, always just beyond her grasp. Her pursuit had become a chase, and in chasing, she had forgotten the most essential truth. Love is not a prize to be won, but a frequency to be embodied. The universe operates through resonance, drawing like to like in an eternal dance of attraction. When you seek love outside yourself, you broadcast the frequency of lacking, and lack returns as your experience. This ancient principle revealed itself to Ida during a moment of quiet revelation. She had been searching for what already existed within her own heart. Werner understood this truth inherently. He never spoke of seeking love or finding the one. Instead, he simply allowed love to flow through him naturally, like sunlight through clear glass. As he walked through the marketplace, he blessed each person silently. While tending his garden, he infused every action with gentle appreciation. In conversations, he listened with such presence that others felt truly seen. He did not chase. He radiated. He did not grasp. He gave. And in this giving, something magical began to unfold. People were drawn to his peaceful energy. Kindness flowed back to him from unexpected sources. Love, in its myriad forms, began appearing in his life with effortless grace. This is the sacred alchemy of attraction. What you embody returns to you multiplied. When you become love itself, you need not chase it. When you radiate warmth, you need not search for it. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you are. In realizing this, Ida's entire approach transformed. She stopped scanning rooms for potential partners and began filling spaces with her own light instead. She ceased asking when love would arrive and started being the love she wished to experience. Like Werner, she discovered that love was not a destination but a way of moving through the world. Your own capacity for love is boundless, waiting to be recognized and released. It requires no external permission or perfect circumstances. It asks only that you remember its presence within you and allow it to flow freely. When you walk through your day radiating love, not from need or expectation, but from the pure joy of expressing your true nature, you become a magnet for its reflection in all forms. Today, send love silently toward one stranger and feel how it uplifts you instantly. 2. Chapter 29. Manifestation as Service. In the ancient scrolls of wisdom, a truth shines forth. Abundance flows most freely when it serves the greater good. This knowing lies dormant within you, waiting to transform your relationship with manifestation itself. Long ago, Rosie walked the path of scarcity, her dreams tethered to mere survival. Each morning, she would awaken thinking only of having enough food, enough money, enough security. Her visions never stretched beyond the boundaries of her own needs, and so the universe responded in kind, providing just enough to maintain, but never to flourish. Then one dawn, as she watched the sun paint gold across the sky, she witnessed how it gave its light freely to all beings. The flowers opened without hesitation, the birds sang in celebration, and the whole world seemed to prosper in this natural abundance. In that moment, she understood that true wealth multiplies when shared. This revelation altered the fabric of her manifestations. Rather than focusing solely on her own sustenance, She began to envision how her success could illuminate others' paths. Her small bakery, once a means of survival, became a sanctuary where hungry souls found nourishment beyond bread alone. As her heart expanded to hold others' welfare, the universe responded with overflowing bounty. Emile knew this secret well. When his thoughts of prosperity included his family's well-being, something shifted in the electromagnetic field of his intentions. Instead of visualizing personal wealth, he saw his children's education blooming, his wife's artistic dreams taking flight, his parents retiring in comfort. Each morning, he would sit in silence, allowing his visions to ripple outward like stones cast in still water. The universe responds to such generous intention with magnificent precision. As Emile's focus expanded beyond himself, unexpected opportunities appeared. His business grew not through aggressive pursuit, but through a natural expansion that seemed to meet everyone's needs. Clients were drawn to his genuine desire to serve, and prosperity followed as naturally as breath follows breath. This is the hidden key. When your manifestations carry the frequency of service, they activate a higher law of multiplication. Like a single candle lighting countless others without diminishing its own flame, your good fortune becomes a blessing that touches many lives. Your own power to manifest operates at its peak when aligned with this principle of shared abundance. As you set your intentions, allow them to carry the seed of collective benefit. Let your success become a vessel through which others might also rise. In this way, you tap into the infinite flow of universal prosperity, which knows no bounds when channeled through a generous heart. Ask softly, "How may my blessing bless others?" And feel the answer strengthen your own flow. Chapter 30. Living the Miracle. In the depths of an ancient tradition there lived a merchant who sold beautiful tapestries. Each morning he would unfold his wares beneath the rising sun, arranging them with careful precision. Yet despite the splendor of his goods, his heart remained heavy with yearning for greater success. One day, a wise woman paused at his stall. Rather than examining his tapestries, she studied the way sunlight danced across their threads. "These are not mere fabrics," she observed, "but moments of grace captured in color." The merchant frowned, for he had never thought of his wares in such a way. "They are simply things to be sold," he replied. "Nothing is simply anything," the wise woman smiled. "Each breath we draw is a miracle unfolding. Each sunset paints the sky anew. Your tapestries do not merely exist. They dance with light. They tell stories. They warm hearts. When you see the miracle in what is before you, more miracles appear." From that day forward, the merchant began to notice the extraordinary nature of the ordinary. He saw how morning dew transformed his tapestries into fields of diamonds. He witnessed how children's eyes widened at the patterns, their imagination taking flight. He observed how his fabrics brought comfort to those who wrapped themselves in their warmth. As his appreciation deepened, something remarkable occurred. His business flourished not because he sought success, but because he had learned to recognize the wonder inherent in each moment. His customers felt it too. They weren't just buying tapestries. They were participating in daily miracles. This truth extends into your own life. Each moment carries within it the seed of wonder. The way sunlight filters through leaves, the perfect temperature of your morning tea, the synchronicity of meeting exactly who you need to meet. These are not coincidences, but confirmations of the miraculous nature of existence. When you awaken to the extraordinary within the ordinary, manifestation transforms from a destination into a journey of continuous unfolding. You need not wait for some future event to declare life magical. The magic exists now, in this breath, in this moment. Remember that the greatest gift you can offer the universe is your recognition of its constant miracles. When you acknowledge the sacred in the simple, you align with the flow of creation itself. Your gratitude becomes a magnet, attracting more moments of grace into your field of experience. As you rise tomorrow, whisper, "Today itself is the miracle," and live inside that recognition fully. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You have walked through these teachings not as a student, but as one remembering what your spirit has always known. The whispers of your heart were never random longings. They were the universe speaking through you, calling you to step into your natural state of creation. Now you understand that every moment holds the power of manifestation. Look around you. Notice how your consciousness has already begun shifting reality. The thoughts you choose create ripples in the fabric of existence. Your words shape the atmosphere around you. Your feelings magnetize experiences that match their frequency. This is not theory. It is the living law you've witnessed in action. The signs you seek have always been present. That flutter of excitement when you imagine your desires, it is recognition, not fantasy. That sense of certainty that occasionally washes over you, it is your higher self confirming what is already in motion. That peaceful feeling when you trust, it is alignment with the natural order of creation. You no longer need to force outcomes or strain toward your dreams. Instead, you can rest in the knowledge that your inner state is the catalyst for outer change. Your role is simply to maintain the frequency of what you wish to experience. Let your thoughts drift naturally to what brings you joy. Allow your words to flow from a place of abundance. Permit your feelings to resonate with the reality you are stepping into. The universe delights in your awakening. It celebrates each moment you choose to see through eyes of wonder. Your appreciation of daily miracles multiplies them. Your recognition of synchronicities strengthens them. Your gratitude for what is attracts more to be grateful for. This wisdom was never meant to burden you with technique. It is an invitation to return to your natural state of being. Creation flows through you as easily as breath when you release the need to control its timing or method. Your dreams are not distant possibilities. They are living energies seeking expression through your consciousness. You are the miracle you've been waiting for. Every teaching in these chapters has simply reminded you of what your spirit has always known. The power to shape reality was never outside you. It is the very essence of who you are.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.